Sometimes frogs get hit by cars. Collisions, inheritance, polymorphism. Let's go for a quick video, get some more code done in this game. By now you should definitely have all of the assets that we're going to need for this. So we're going to start off by throwing in our cars because that's all we're really going to work on today. We have 3 different car assets. Right, we're going to break it into car small, car medium, car large. Car small, medium, and large. So edit, file. We're going to add from a strip. I don't want to add it from a strip. I want to add from a file. I plot mine on the desktop somewhere. I made a cars guy. And I'm going to grab these 3 buckaroos. So we've got 3 cars of the same size. Checking your modify mask, make sure that they are completely filled in. And they should all be the same resolution, which would be 65 by 32. We're going to center the origin because the cars are going to be able to go in both directions, and we want to flip them without having to fuck with flipping the collision mask. So we've got 3 cars for the small. We're going to have sprite car medium. I'm going to edit, add a file. We're going to add I call it the ambulance. The names in the file don't really matter. Same thing, center it. And then lastly, sprite for car large. Edit. I could have just added from that other page. Doesn't matter. Get them in the game. Center them. Golden. Now, 1 second. Cool. All right. As the intro stated, this is going to have some inheritance and polymorphism. And as always with game development, you can do anything in any way that you want. This, I'm just trying to utilize a couple of the assets, or a couple of the common development practices, and inheritance being one of them. So, similar to how I made the controller just non-object because it's not actually in the game as an object, we're going to have our obstacles as one of those. It's just going to be a parent class for all of our cars, but my bad, oh shit, I did that twice, didn't I? Delete this one. I just wanted to create a folder just like we did with the sprites. Call them cars. I could have just called that cars. You know, we're going to call it cars. Cars. I need that open. Alright, so now we don't need a sprite for this. This is just going to be the parent. We are going to keep our depth at 0 and start off with a create event. Wow. Initialize cars. And the only reason we need to add in this image speed is equal to 0 is just the small car. There are 3 different ones. If you want to make new sprites or multiple sprites for the medium and large length, do the same thing. Well, I guess you can do those on your own, but you'll see how it works. Because that means that the only child object for the cars that we need to do anything with is going to be the small car, just to choose a random one, which we could even run that in here if we cared to. I don't care to, so that's how we're going to do it. So we need to give us a start coordinate. So the x, our start, y is going to be equal to y. We need a speed, which I found that 5 works pretty well for this. Play with it as you would like. Direction is equal to 1. Now we need to set a facing direction, because some of these lanes are going to be traveling right, some of these lanes are going to be traveling left, much unlike an actual street. But you're usually not the frog crossing a street, so reality is just completely out of this one. We don't care too much. So we're going to check if. Now we only need to care about the start x pretty much entirely. I don't know why the start y is in there. Well, I put it in there. If something goes crazy and you want to kind of change like where they are, then you can leave that variable to go in. But since the cars and the logs just go left to right, x is the only one that's really important. But whatever. So if how do we do the start x is less than room width, ROM width. Roma width, fuck. If it is less than room width divided by 2, which means we are in the left half of the center of the screen, then we want to be facing to the, I did greater than. Let's change this. So if we are on the right half of the center of the screen, then we're going to want the direction equal to -1. We're going to be facing to the left. And I guess here, yeah. Actually, I did this a little bit of a different way. We're going to do image x scale is equal to our direction. So now it's going to be switched to the -1 if we're on that side, so we're driving to the left, because by default, the sprites, if you notice, were all facing to the right. that's going to be all of it for that. Here, the simplest of them all, a step event, which will just be our movement. We're just going to say x plus equal to speed times direction. So we're either going to move by 5 pixels to the right or 5 pixels to the left. Bango. One more, come down to other outside room. In this one we have a little bit of a code. See how fucking stupid I am? So we're going to check a couple different things. We're going to check if we are outside of the room, we're going to set ourselves back up to our start location. But there is a bit of a potential problem, which I'll come back to when we're actually in the map and placing our vehicles. Is since cars are coming from 2 different spots, one of them is going to tick over to its start location and then keep moving while the other one ticks. So the gap between them is kind of changing. Every once in a while they're going to be off screen and overlapping, and we don't want 2 cars that are overlapping to kind of enter the game frame because it'll look pretty stupid. So we're going to write some code to take care of that. We're going to say reset location and void overlap. We're gonna call it that. So we're gonna say if distance to point XD. And this one is going to go from our start locations. So start X, start Y is greater than room width. So if we are pretty much on the other side of the room, because if we're off screen, this is going to read no matter what, and if we're off screen in our start location, we don't want to respawn it, we just want to keep going. So we got to make sure that we've made it to the other side of the room before actually caring about this code. But we're going to reset it back to X equals start X. Pretty simple. But now, here's where we're going to avoid the overlap. Is going to say if place meeting at X, Y, and here we're going to say cars. So we're going to be checking if we're overlapping with any other cars. In GameMaker, this will avoid avoid the obvious collision with ourselves, because whatever object is reading this is an object car. It's not going to care about that code. It's going to just, no, we're not trying to collide with ourselves, because that would be dumb and permanent and always. So get rid of it. So we're going to do X minus equals direction times the max. Let me just type this out and then I'll explain what it's doing. The absolute value of sprite width and the absolute value of other dot sprite width times 2. Now what this is saying is that we're going to multiply we're going to actually subtract the direction. So if the direction is trying to go to the left, we're subtracting, so we're actually going to move it further off screen, because we don't want a car to just magically appear mid-lane. The frog will be pretty easily hit, and it'll be kind of annoying to die if you don't even know what hit you. Or like, you'll kind of appear, a car will spawn on top of you and then drive away and you're crushed. Stupid game. So we're checking for the maximum value of the sprite width and the other sprite width, because in some lanes we're going to have some small cars and medium cars, or you can actually choose. If you just had all small cars in one lane, all medium in another, all long in another, then this bit of code doesn't matter, it'll still work. It's just both of those numbers are going to be the same, and it's going to pick one. So we're going to take the longer distance of the cars. Doesn't matter if the car that we're actually checking with is the one that is longer or not. But we're going to take the longer width and we're going to move it 2 car lengths away from the screen. So we're just going to push it back even further so it'll come through. I think I noticed with the log in my own testing that I still had, in like one peculiar instance, it would still pop into the frame, but I think I've got that figured out. And if we come across it again, I'll do my best to fix it. But that's all we need for the outside of the room code. So now, the pretty simple part, we're going to create the objects. So object car small. We're going to give ourselves a small car, and this is the only one that's going to need any code. The rest are just going to be children of that, so it's not going to matter. But we're going to create controller initialize small car. So we're going to do an event inherited Event inherited is going to pull the create class of the parent and listen to all of that code before doing anything. If we don't have this code and we just did the image index is equal to choose 0, 1, 2, which is what we want to do to choose either the blue, yellow, or green I think I had for the cars. We just want to choose one of those at random, just the image index of 0, 1, and 2. Choosing one at random, and if we didn't have this code, we would not have access to any of this code. It would all just be ignored because we didn't actually inherit it. This is the inheritance and polymorphism part of it. Not really much polymorphism, but inheritance. And that is literally all the code we need for that car. Come in here, we're gonna, we'll duplicate it. We're gonna give ourselves an object, car medium. Come down here to cars, give it a medium. Again, we do not need this anymore. I did forget one thing though. We need to set the parent to our cars object. Here, we, set our parent to the cars object. Duplicate the medium because it's already a child. Object car large. Cars, give me a large where you can see right here that parent is already set to cars. And now we're gonna actually, we can test the game with this. So we're gonna go into our room, our main room, move this to the side, objects. Let's just grab a small car now. I want, turn on the grid for one, we're gonna go with 16. We want these to be in line with this. So I don't want it driving on the grass, I don't want it an awkward distance away. So we're just gonna have a car here, a car here, a car here. We're gonna come over here to the medium. And then we're going to come over here to the large. And yeah, that should be. Right. So this isn't going to be very sporadic. This is just going to be super, super basic. Press play on those, and we should have some intersectionality of cars to keep it contemporary, I guess. And there we go. So we have super basic, cars are going, but nothing's happening yet. Probably could have guessed that. We do have the depth set up correctly, so the cars actually go over the frogs. Let's go through and finish this up. Object from. This whole time I've been doing that. Nobody told me. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. I don't think I actually, if I had used that collision or used a call to this and it auto-completed, then it would have just kept saying from and I would have never noticed. So if it crashes, we can find that pretty easily. We're going to add a collision event with that parent cars. And collision with cars. Let's say and logs later. It's going to collide with the logs, but we're just not creating the logs yet. But we're going to avoid any of that like crossover code that we need for here. I already did that part. So we're doing collision with the obstacle. So right here is actually where it's going to know whether or not we're hitting a log or a car. Is we're going to make sure that we are not dead. Because if we're dead, we don't need to do anything else. And we're going to make sure that we're not, don't need to do this part yet, but on log. So if we're on a log, we're ignoring this code. If we're dead, we're ignoring this code. So the first thing we need to do is actually set is dead to true because we only want to read this line of code once. Mostly because we need to set the alarm 0 equal to the respawn time. I don't remember if I changed the name to respawn timer or spawn time. Yeah, I did do timer with a capital T. That is the way that I would have done it. Alright, so we're setting our respawn timer, and then similar to what we did with death in the water, we're going to change our image blend is equal to seed red. Again, this is only because I don't care. Oh god damn it! I forgot I need to do semicolons and everything. It's only because I don't care if about doing the animations. Again, if anyone suggests it, I can figure that out. Well, not figure it out. It's pretty simple, but I can take the time to do it. I do need the semicolons in case I get this around to uploading it to GameMaker Studios forum. So, and they're all bitchy about this. But, nope, bang. And step. Probably threw one of these in the wrong spot, and it's gonna give me hell, but we're gonna ignore it for now. Let's see how that works. This could be the quickest video so far. And we got a dead frog, we can't move. Bammo. He gets that back. Keep the score from before. I ran into the back of that truck. That was a little bit weak. And the water kills us. So, as you can already see just with how the cars move, given that these two are of different length, they start hitting at different times and it starts creating a gap in between them. So when we're in here, oops, this is where you can kind of start making the game board a little bit more unique. Let's actually get one of each kind of car up on that one. We're gonna have, what was that? That's not what I thought I clicked on. Get out of here. Cars, small. Yeah, we'll keep those guys close. Let's get another amber lamps up here. There's gonna be, whoops, amber lamps and a large car up there, and then the only one we're missing is down here. We're gonna have amber lamps and a small car. This, you can play with it, make it however you want. Press play and just see if we can get to the water with a car. Now you can go through and use that I guess inheritance, use that same code. Yeah, everything's crossing just the way that we want it to. Use the same code that we had to change the speed for different cars. You can tell that all of the cars, like this yellow one's going to the right, this one's going to the left, they are flipping appropriately. The gaps are changing between the cars. So far I see none of them overlapping. These three are so close together that, ah shit, those are overlapping. In the next video, if I figure out why that happened, we'll work on that. I honestly can't fathom a reason why that didn't work. I guess could have overlapped and then jumped it back and hit another one and then it didn't check again. I don't know. It keeps happening. We're gonna ignore that for now. I'll find a fix for it and we'll have it up in the next video. Alright, keeping it super sweet and simple on this one. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below and I will try to have the next video up as soon as I can. Enjoy your day.